let's have a cuppa and let's talk about recognition. Mainly from a projector perspective, a self-projected projector. I have been waiting. This video has been brewing for a few weeks. I've known I wanted to talk about this. I've known I've needed to get it out. I know I needed to self-project on this. And as a human design projector, recognition is part of my strategy. Sorry, did you hear me slurp? Recognition is part of my strategy. I am here to wait for the recognition and the invite, or I have to wait for the invite, but I have to feel recognised for it to feel right. So recognition is a really big part of being a projector. And something happened a couple of weeks ago, and it made me kind of see recognition in a slightly different way. And I don't know whether it was something that I read, something that I saw, maybe something that happened to me, but this is often what happens. I kind of suddenly have this kind of like light bulb, or almost like all of a sudden, I see this thing from a different perspective. And that's basically what happened to me with recognition. And now I'm at this point where it's like, I need to talk this through. I need to talk it through for myself so that I can understand it and embody it. And then, as is always the case with a 2/4 self-projected projector, is that I also know that I know that somebody will get something from this, that it'll be useful to someone. So here we go. Let's talk about it. So recognition. So when we think about recognition, when you initially think about recognition, it's maybe, recognition for a task done well, recognition for it's something that comes from an external source. It's something that comes from someone else. And that's true for projectors as well. If someone else is going to recognize me for being someone who can guide them and support them and assist them, then and recognize me for my perspective, for my opinion, for my viewpoint, then it is, and then they're going to invite me. It is that external piece. It is not a validation. I suppose it is a validation, but it is something that we are requiring from someone else, right? So, when you think about things like recognition, I think about, being awarded a trophy, being, that kind of thing. Recognition, a recognition for the value that you've added, a recognition for what you've brought to the table, Recognition, it's always kind of from this external source. And recognition is also an energy. Being recognized for the value that you give to someone isn't necessarily just in, I recognize you, so here is a token of that recognition. It is within the energy. As a projector, you can feel when someone recognizes you and recognizes you for what you bring. And you can feel when there isn't that recognition as well. And obviously that's part of the strategy, Of course a projector can understand that, because it is part of the strategy of determining whether or not the invite is correct for us. So what I'm trying to get to is recognition is an energy. So it's something that I can feel through the energy that you're giving off. So as with everything, what we say, how we act, doesn't always reflect the energy we're giving off and the vibration that we're giving off. But the energy that we give off and the vibration that we give off will always tell the truth about who we are, what we're feeling, what we truly think in that moment. And this is where I personally find living an energetic life interesting, is when you are in a direct conversation with someone, particularly as a self-projected projector, and my projector pointed aura is right into their monopole, and I am feeling every feeling that they are feeling, because that is what the projector does, and yet they are telling me something that goes against what they are feeling. And it's like, I see you, you know, I see you. I know exactly what is going on here. You know, you can try and pull the wool over my eyes. You can try and tell me that, you know, one thing, but I know what's going on. And it's taken some time to trust that, you know. Anyway, that's by the by. But recognition is an energy. It's a frequency. It's something that's felt. I know if you recognize me for something. I know if you don't, because I feel it. Okay? So, if recognition is an energy, a vibration, a ripple that can be felt across everything, across the vibrational world, the web of the world, then it can also be magnetized, attracted. Okay? And that leads me down a pathway where I'm kind of thinking to myself, do I recognize me for who I am, the value I add? Because if I'm not recognizing me, and I'm not on a vibration of recognizing me, then technically I can't attract in, using the laws of the universe, people that recognize me. I can't attract in recognition. So that then becomes this inward conversation again, which takes me straight into my line 2. Hey, I'm going inwards. I'm hermiting again. Pull down the blinds. You're not checking me out until I've sorted myself out, until I've created a process, created a system that helps me to recognize me. And I got to thinking about a lot of the stuff that, shall we say, I want to manifest in my life. I don't like the term manifest, because it kind of conjures up this idea of like magical stuff, and someone just, I don't know, laying on a lilo, on their pink flamingo lilo in a pool, kind of sipping on pina coladas and thinking about the £1 million that they want to manifest, and actually not actually doing anything. And that's not what manifesting is. And if that's what you think manifesting is, then I'd ask you to go and look into it again, because it's not. However, when I think about the things that I want to bring in to my physical reality, so let's use money as the example. So let's say I want to bring in more money into my world. Do I recognize myself as someone who is worthy of more money? Do I recognize that value that I bring to the world? Am I standing strong in that I know the value that I add to this world? I know that my perspective, my opinion, the way that I think is useful and is required, and I need to speak about it in this world. And can I stand strong and hold that energy? Because if I can stand strong and hold that energy and stand in the power of that and be someone who recognizes myself, then I open the channels for abundance. I open the channels for more money, So that then takes me into other areas of my life. And I've studied a lot over the years to do with health and nutrition and all that kind of stuff. And I see now how, to a certain extent, I've created this web of do's and don'ts, beliefs, things like that, that actually impacts my ability to recognize myself as a healthy person. And I have a goal to be super healthy. Super healthy. But because I have beliefs and conditions that I have created around that topic over the years, I don't recognize myself right now as a healthy person. So if I'm not recognizing myself as that, how can other people recognize me for being someone who can add value in that area to them and therefore offer me an invite? Does that make sense? So, but also, how can life invite me to be super healthy if I am not recognizing myself as that already? You know? So, for example, let me think of a good example. Right, so I can put in to an internet kind of search engine thing what my weight is and what my height is, and it will give me a BMI, okay? Personally, I don't believe in BMI, but this is just an example. And that will tell me whether or not I am healthy, okay? And from that action and from that information that I have just picked up and been given, I can then take on board that understanding, that belief that I am not healthy because my BMI is not in the right range, and it says I'm super obese or whatever, obese. I don't know what that. I'm thinking there's super obese. I don't know what the other ones are. But you know, if I'm in, so I then believe that that's what I am. So then I believe that I'm not healthy. You know. And if I don't recognize myself as a healthy person, then I'm not on the vibration of being a healthy person. And therefore, I'm not calling in that recognition. Does that make sense? So recognition is not just about the external recognition. It's the internal recognition too. And then my thought process goes a little bit wider as well. So then I start moving into, so which areas of my life do I feel recognized, you know? My tea's going cold because I am talking too much and not drinking enough. Anyway. So if you look at the traditional areas of life, you know, relationships. Which relationships do I feel recognized in from the other, but which relationships do I feel recognized? In which relationships do I recognize myself and the value that I bring to those relationships? Career. You know, in which do I feel recognized by others in my career? But more importantly, am I recognizing myself in my career? You know? And a lot of that kind of comes together with what I do on kind of social media. And, you know, I record these videos. And do I feel recognized for these videos? Am I recognizing myself for the value that I'm sharing when I actually record these videos? You know? And that rolls out in so many areas of life, you know? If you are, let's say you have a hobby. I suddenly had a flashback of when I used to be dancing. And I used to do disco dancing and I used to do line dancing. And in disco dancing, I never recognised myself as being a good disco or one of the, shall we say, one of the best in the class, in the area, that kind of thing. And so I always felt a bit kind of clumsy, a bit uncomfortable. But in line dancing, I was like, yay, I like this, I'm good at this, I can do this. I recognised myself. And I did really well at line dancing. You know? So where are you recognising yourself? Where are you recognising what you bring? And I follow a lot of projectors on social media to see what they're doing, to see how they're doing it, and to see what their vibe is. I also follow a lot of 2/4s for the same reason. And the recognition thing, I think the line two is similar to a projector in the sense that the line 2 is the natural, and they don't recognise their own genius. They don't recognise their own kind of skill set, if you want. So other people try and recognise it for them, but that's kind of more of a leave me alone, I don't need you to recognise this, leave me to just be kind of thing. So there's kind of like until you're called out. And so there is quite a lot of similarities between the projector vibe and the line 2 vibe. Where was I going with that? I've lost my track of thought there, guys. Sorry. And it's interesting because, you see, my brain's going a bit further now. It's interesting because I've been studying and working on my human design for quite a few years now. And I've always recognised myself as the projector. However, I am still conditioned around the Manigen and the generator, and even manifestor, actually. There's a lot of informing we do in society, right? Informing you of this, particularly on social media. I'm going to inform you of this, situation or whatever. And then there's a lot of responding that we do on social media. But there's not as much kind of just being in that bubble. And I'm starting to recognise that within myself now, and I'm starting to allow that for myself. So yes, I am on here, I am on social media, I am on YouTube, I am, I'm on all these places to be visible so that I can self-project, which is part of my design, but I can also facilitate one of my gene keys, which is that everything that I learn is not for me, it's for others. So I can facilitate that gene key, I can self-project. But there has always been the playing of the algorithm game, shall we put it that way, previously. There's always been this kind of playing of the algorithm game, I guess, because you want to be visible, you want to be seen, you want to show up. All those words that kind of social media kind of businessy coaches kind of use. And yet I don't want to be visible. I want to be discoverable, and that's different. And that brings me very much to this projector vibe of being the lighthouse at the top of the cliff. I'm here and I'm shining my light bright and I'm waiting for you to find me. I'm not coming to find you. And when I allow that myself to recognise that within myself, I ease into life and who I am, rather than the hustle and chase of trying to be seen. So isn't it funny how I get talking, there's loads of things coming through at the moment. I'm just trying to decipher which one to grab and follow. Recognition, your recognition of me is none of my business. My recognition of me is my business and should be my focus, because my recognition of me is what will power up that light in the lighthouse and allow other people to discover me. and then recognize me, and then invite me. So recognition then becomes a part of the general energetics of life, the universal laws, because I can't think which one it is. My brain's just gone. But there is one of those universal laws is about how you feel within is the light, is what is within is without, you know? It's what you feel inside is what creates the life outside, if that makes sense. So it's linking up to that as well. The law of, it's not relativity, the law of, oh God, I can't, it's gone. Anyway, so if I as a projector, I'm looking for that recognition, or, you know, not looking, I'm not going, hey, give me your recognition. I don't mean it in that way. I mean, if as a projector, my pathway, my doorway to a connection with someone is recognition, and I'm not recognizing myself, then how can that connection happen? How can that doorway open? In the same way as if I am living on a frequency of I don't have enough money, how can that gateway open for more money? How can that connection happen so that more money flows into me? The only way to connect that up is to move into the energy of I am abundant, money just flows to me, and to live on that vibration. So surely recognition is the same. And surely as a projector, when we recognize ourselves, that is magnetic to people who recognize us and will offer us the invite. You see, I've seen people take, and I've done it in the past as well, take the projector energy and create a little kind of checklist. And I remember doing somebody's course once, and at the end of the day, the thing that you were meant to do was write down how many invites you received. And it was a very much kind of old style kind of DMO kind of thing. You know, here's the 5 things you should do every day as a projector. And one of them was, you know, log down the number of invites that you've received. And while on the one hand, that is a really good tool, because actually starting to become aware of the invites actually makes you recognize yourself as someone who is getting invites, and therefore you're on that energy connection for getting more invites. So there is that. But what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of people out there who are taking projectorishness and creating a step-by-step framework for other projectors to copy, to take, to use. Maybe they're even charging for it, when there are so many nuances within, you know, within your body chart, that how can, just because I'm a projector, I get a tick list from you of how to live life as the perfect projector, when in fact I am a line 2-4. I have these channels active. Do you know what I mean? And the fact is, you know, the fact that I am a self-projected projector means that actually the way that I do things, there's only something like 3% of the world who does things in the same way as me. So how can I learn from someone who is not a self-projected projector, who is not a 2-4, how to align energetically to my specific chart? And this is a bit of a problem that I have now with kind of any kind of group situation, which is everybody is so unique, and there are so many layers all the way down. Everybody is so unique. How can a group situation How can a group be taught one way? It's got to be a conversation that is an activation. It's got to be a conversation whereby you can be activated by what someone says to go and look into something yourself. Or it has to be an activation one-on-one with someone who can lean into your energy, understand who you are, understand what you're about, look at your body chart, look at, have conversations with you so that they can feel the energy within you and guide that to an activation. And so this is where I'm kind of going, I think, because I feel like there are things brewing in the background right now that I need to bring to life. This video was one of them. And I have a long list of things that I want to record, that I want to talk about, that I want to share, maybe even books that I want to write, maybe courses I want to create. And I've got to find the time, I've got to recognize myself as for the value that I bring across all those different areas before I can step into that, you know? And I've recently been asking my higher self, you know, what's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? And my higher self the resounding answer that I keep getting is fall in love with your life again. And this is such a projector thing because it's not about anything else apart from being, well, it's such a self-projected projector 2-4 thing. It's being so absorbed in the life that I am loving and living that none of this kind of matters, but it just comes to me. And I'm not there at the moment. I'm somewhere over here kind of like focusing on my physical reality and feeling a bit crappy about everything. Whereas what I need to be doing is focusing a little bit more on that inner world and allowing that recognition to start to seep out of me energetically. And then maybe I can start to build. I'm not a builder. You see, we talk about these things all the time and these words come naturally to us. But the minute we use these words, they're not technically in alignment, you know? I'm not here to build anything. I'm not here to create, you know? I'm not here to do something. I'm here to do my thing. Be me. I'm here to be me. I'm here to be me. I'm here to just be in the moment, have the best moment I can possibly have. And as I do that, all these other things will connect in. But because of conditioning, because of society, because of the lives that we lead, we're led down a different path. I think there's some recognition coming through while I'm actually kind of talking about recognition, right? I think we're done. There's nothing else coming through. There's nothing else coming through. I think I'm done. I will leave it there, guys. This might lead into something else. I don't know. I am feeling this need to really kind of deep dive on specific areas. And they must be areas that I need to deep dive onto for myself, right? So watch this space. Who knows? Who knows when the next chat will appear? Anyway, I've got a cold half cup of tea now. If you've come across this, thank you. Thank you for listening. Yeah, what else can I say? give me a follow, all that kind of jazz, I suppose. Oh God, that's chasing. If you have discovered me and want to hear more, keep discovering me, then click follow. Oh, I don't know. Isn't life just a whole little puzzle, just waiting to be, for the picture to just appear, Anyway, don't know where this has taken me, but I know it's taken me somewhere extraordinary.